Shape, dynamic. The world you can explore, supposedly authentic. The combat you'll be engaging in is supposed to be deep but accessible. I think the main point here is this is a samurai game. It's a samurai open world action RPG, and if that is the theme you're into, then you're probably gonna like this one. But honestly speaking, at the time of recording, we haven't seen all too much. The screenshots look great, the initial trailer seems very nice, but we haven't seen a lot of details still. So I'm very curious about this. But yeah, I think the main point is, if you like samurais, keep an eye on Rise of the Ronin. Taking a step into the past, the Gothic 1 remake. That's right, Gothic 1, that classic RPG that so many people love, is getting a remake. The kingdom of Mitarna has been invaded by a horde of orcs, and King Robard II, in need of a large quantity of magical ore in order to forge powerful weapons, operates the Corinus Mine with all available prisoners. That's a lot of lore, but basically, this is Gothic 1. And it's not a remaster, it's a remake, so a new game. You'll be returning to the colony and rediscovering its secrets and challenges. You play the nameless hero, of course, and you control the fate of a lifetime convicted prisoner who must survive in a world full of wild animals, creatures, and other dangerous convicts. So this remake is supposed to be, it is promising to be, a faithful full remake of the original Gothic, but with modernized combat and controls. Now, this can be an incredible challenge, especially because of so many people who love the Gothic series, and particularly Gothic 1. So the hype is real, and the expectations are high, and there is always a big chance that this is a big fail. However, I mean, you just have to do it right. And maybe we can get a revival of a series that, although is very popular, maybe is still underrated in the whole scheme of things. There's no particular release window for the Gothic 1 remake, but if you're open to the action, definitely. Hey, now that we're a bit into the list, I'm sure you're enjoying it, so be greatly appreciated if you can like the video. Alright, next game. Caribbean Legends. While we're on the topic of old games remade, this is an open-world RPG set in the golden age of Caribbean pirates. You embark on a 200-hour-long adventure, plunder cities and ships, explore the unknown, discover treasures, forge friendships, earn bounties on your head, and charm the nation. That's the ultimate. So, this is kind of a remake of another older pirate game called Suikoden. However, things have been developing so far to the point where Caribbean Legends is kind of becoming an old pirate, especially I mean, as I've said, there's a lot to owning a warship, commanding pirates, tailoring your character build, equipment, crafting, military operations and sieges. There's so much. This is supposed to be the ultimate pirate game. Outside of this company has slightly dated visuals, but we don't have a lot of true pirate games. So this could be your best bet at first pirate. And good news, release date is actually set for the 15th of February 2024. So if you want to be a pirate, then you can keep your one untapped card on Caribbean. And then for one we really don't know all that much about Phantom Blade Zero. Here we have an action RPG, which is specifically with the Beecham-style art style, fast-paced combat, and a fictitious world blending Chinese martial arts and steampunk. You be the dark raider exiled by the Order, embarking on a path of vengeance to uncover the darkest secrets. We have a very impressive trailer, which shows off a lot of fast-paced, high-octane combat, which seems very impressive. However, this is a very cool region. Honestly, there isn't too much to say. You can see the trailer, you can see the game that you want to keep in your wish list, but until they reveal more, then Phantom Blade Zero is just going to be one of those games on the horizon. It does seem promising, so maybe we'll get something very interesting at some point. And then we have Second Stone, the legend of the hidden world. Going back to a colorful and vibrant world, you'll be uncovering a wealth of ominous secrets in a mind-bending adventure RPG. You unleash the power of mana stones to devastate your opponents in combat. You journey through a vast world filled with adventure and excitement, and another promise is you get to experience a thrilling story to uncover the mystery of a hidden realm. Having said that, we don't know much more about this game, besides, again, a very impressive trailer and some nice screenshots. So this is one where I really shouldn't be saying too much because there isn't much to say. You can have a look at it, you can keep an eye on it, but let's move on to other games we can talk more about. Next, we've got Suikoden, might be pronounced AI Code. Insomnium, a world doomed to an endless cycle of death. Ico, a cow created by the Order, another the Order. Okay, just as a side note here, games need to stop calling factions the Order. There's too many orders. Anyway, this character comes across as a puppet that will lead her to the worst of futures, her own past. Okay. This is a JRPG plot if I have ever heard one. This character, created by a mysterious organization, faces the future, which is her past? Alright. Anyway, this game has colossal bosses, intricate combat mechanics, a vast and immersive world, multiple methods of exploration, a bunch of customization, but also a lot of side quests and activities where you can go fishing, visit arcades and karaoke bars. You know, you can spend your free time just having fun in this world. So, I mean, there's a lot of interesting things here, and it's kind of hard to know what to expect in this game. I mean, the trailer shows off some gameplay, the screenshots look lovely, and the description is as insane as a JRPG should sound. So, just could be an interesting one. At the time of recording, the release is just coming soon, so no particular release window. And at this point, I'm sure you know whether you're interested in this one or not. Alright, we can't have a list like this without having a game about dragons. Dragonhold, particularly. Embark on an adrenaline-fueled quest for dominance in the skies. Here is a multiplayer dragon and melee fighting game. So this is promising the thrill of a lifetime because you'll be able to soar through the skies, challenging other dragon riders from all corners of the globe. I mean, this is a dragon game, so you'll be unleashing the power of dragons as a dragon rider, living in an immersive world where you're caught in the midst of a holy war. You get to forge alliances and unleash chaos in PvP and co-op missions, along with, of course, collecting loot and upgrading your gear and enhancing your dragons as you explore, conquer, and prosper in the world of Dragonhold. So this is part action RPG, part open world exploration, but also competitive multiplayer. But if you're not into the competitive multiplayer, there does seem to be a lot of solo and cooperative content as well. But like the samurai games, I think in this particular case, you just gotta be really into dragons, because that's kind of the whole point of the game. Dragons and being a dragon rider. So if you're into dragons and you want to be a dragon rider, then have a look at Dragonhold, where you can hold on to your dragons. And then for another action RPG that we really don't know much about.
I'm in charge of dinner. And we're not using this, and we're not using that. This is the ninja coffee.
Make taco. Open world games are some of the most popular genres because the opportunities are often endless. You can do pretty much anything you want in them, and that is the part of what has always allowed certain open world games to separate themselves from the pack. Well, if you're looking for the biggest upcoming open world to get lost in for a few dozen hours, then you're in the right place. Today, I'll talk about the new upcoming PS5 open world games coming out in 2024. Hopefully, you'll enjoy this list of mesmerizing games. Let's go. The Rise of the Ronin is an open-world action-adventure game developed by Team Ninja from Koei Tecmo Games. Delve into the historical period of late 19th century Japan, a time marked by profound conflicts and upheavals.
After 3 centuries of the Tokugawa's produced, elections appeared. Those who cleave to the past, those who embrace the new, and what free all lessons involved. I knew what it was. They Your time has come.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is shaping up to be an incredibly ambitious open-world experience. We play as an Horizon, who's lost their heart to a dragon, the symbol of the world's destruction. The protagonist must defeat the winged beast and face many other challenges. Frontiers of Pandora is a first-person action-adventure game that happens in a massive open world in the cinematic universe of The world is full of vibrant jungles, vast steppes, and mysterious forests. These areas are thrown out of natural valleys by the presence of ideal facilities, which extract Pandorian resources.
On your feet, you'll find your own path as you discover what it means to be now. You'll explore new regions of Pandora, each with their own unique value. The Kingdom of Forest is a lush rainforest brimming with life and dense vegetation. In the shade, awe-inspiring floating mountains. This is the home of the Ayame, a clan of peaceful weavers who will guide you on your first hunt and on your first fight. The Ayame will show you the way to the Rico, where you can bond for life with your very own ikran. The ikran is a devoted companion that you can name, feed, and customize. Experiment with acrobatics and feel a rush of adrenaline as you dive from the sky and explore the open world of Pandora from the
Crimson Desert will center its gameplay on a mix of open world exploration, loot, gathering and general character progression with soul-style combat. As for the difficulty, it is very crucial in games of this kind. Star Wars Outlaws is the first ever open-world Star Wars game. The game takes place between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi in the Star Wars timeline. The game features numerous explorable planets as well as space travel.
I was just leaving. Okay, we'll figure this out.
Black Meets Wukong is a brand new open-world RPG made in Unreal Engine 5 that takes inspiration from Chinese mythology and features Souls-like gameplay. Stellar Blade is an upcoming action-adventure RPG by Korean developer Shift-Up. The structure of the game is described as a semi-open world, drawing inspiration from games like Nier Automata and God of War.
여긴 지하철이고 사람들을 끌고 거미줄 처럼 여기던 뭐 나중에 시체에 기생하고 있다. 그날 지성의 모습에 모두 잘라신 공부를 우주로 돌아가 나 같은 놈들을 이곳에 버리는
Project The Perceiver is an open-world action game with Chinese cultural inspirations. Beecham allows you uncanny, the game explores flashing buildings in a fantasy world. Experience a chaos-ridden world and meet a variety of characters as the master of the reader. Consolidate their distinctive ideals into masks and engage in the fiercest battles.
The three for me only at Chili's. Get you a bottomless drink, bottomless chicken salsa, an entree like a cheeseburger and fries, a chicken bacon ranch quesadilla, or a steak and loaded mashed potatoes, starting at just $10.99. Wait a minute, that can't be right. Rewind. So you get a drink, all the chips and salsa you eat, a giant entree, and a side starting at just $10.99? Oh, someone's gonna get in trouble for this one. This Chili's three for me is the best $10.99 you can eat.
Dune Awakening combines the grit and creativity of survival games with the social interactivity of a large, persistent multiplayer game to create a unique and ambitious open-world survival MMO. Your journey begins in Arrakis, alone on the deadliest planet in the universe.
Is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will permit it to pass over and free me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. If it is gone, there will be nothing.
The Godslayer is an open-world action RPG featuring a highly immersive gameplay system and story experience, allowing players to enhance their abilities through battles and world exploration with the ultimate goal of defeating enemies and saving the world. Arcade 2 is a seamless open-world action MMORPG set as the sequel to the globally acclaimed Arcade that originally launched in Korea in 2013. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. Join humanity's last stand as gods and gods collide in an all-new action RPG open-world adventure. Embark on an epic journey of vengeance, gunpowder, and magic to lead the final siege. Chrono Odyssey is an open-world game that immerses you in a vast, seamless world that is full of points of interest. The structures scattered throughout the world are designed to fuel your sense of adventure, and the game's realistic graphics, dynamic time of day, and weather all contribute to an authentic experience. The Day Before is an open-world MMO survival set in a deadly, post-pandemic America overrun by flesh-hungry, infected, and survivors killing each other for food, for weapons, and cars. three sides to play. Here, the Justice League is a genre-bending action-adventure game set in an open world based in Metropolis. The game features 4 playable characters: Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and King Shark. The Precinct is an open-world action game with simulation elements. Clean up the city, uncover the truth, and embark on thrilling vehicle chases to destructible environments in this neo-noir action sandbox police game.
Searching last known location. Dispatch. I have analyzing the suspect's description.
Robbery in progress. Corporation Bank on Mercer Street. Shots fired. Police are engaged in a dramatic shootout. We come in for police pursuit.
Suspect is now on foot. What even him is now? He's fighting.
The Awakening Rising is a single-player, open-map action role-playing game set in a fantasy world based in medieval Europe. During the game, we play as a hero who explores this colorful and full of dangers and tries to become awakened one. The Wonder Woman game is slated to be a single-player, open-world experience with new classes and action-adventure and storytelling that lets you play as one of the most famous female superheroes from the DC Comics universe.
Crypto today. You heard right. Free crypto. $10 worth. And you get to pick which one. Simply sign up, verify your account, and choose from some of our most popular crypto assets. Free. It's a great way to kickstart your portfolio. Free. And with eToro, you can easily add stocks and ETFs too. See the moves of other investors. Free. eToro is a great way to start investing. And a great way to get free crypto. Free. Get your crypto today. Did I mention it's free?
Hardy's newest handcrafted recipe, candied bacon, coated with caramelized brown sugar and a hint of pepper that add a whole new level of goodness to breakfast, lunch, dinner, or anytime. Hardy's, goodness in the menu.
Death Stranding 2 is a sequel to Hideo Kojima's open-world delivery adventure game. The game features Fragile and Sam Bridges, many years after the events of the first title. Outcast, A New Beginning is the second part of action-adventure open-world RPGs. Once again, we find ourselves on the planet Adelpha, and as Cutter Slave, we try to save its inhabitants from a robot invasion.
That they only grow together. And he influenced this delicate for the better. The more effort they put in, the greater the impact. We'll start this journey and places, and eventually makes a difference everywhere.
Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is a first-person RPG set in the world of darkness, a setting maintained in the urban fantasy convention. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, the third part of the open-world racing game series that is a part of Test Drive Cycle and features a 1:1 recreation of Hong Kong.
Beyond good and evil
Beyond Good and Evil 2 is the second installment in the iconic action-adventure game set in an open-world environment and played from a third-person perspective, which takes place at least one generation before the events of Beyond Good and Evil.
Rich live at the top, and the poor, huddling shanty towns built into the sides of the city's foundation. It's sprawling and richly deep, and it's just one small corner of the moon called Soma, itself just a small piece of Beyond Good and Evil 2's gigantic open world. It's also built for aerial exploration, so in addition to your jetpack, you'll have access to a wide selection of flying vehicles. Any vehicle you see can be commandeered and driven, and they can all tune into Radio Cheetah, stationed by space pirates or 4 space pirates. You'll also be able to fully customize your own ride, swapping out modules, wings, engines, equipment, and cosmetic options to tailor your machines to look good and hold their own in a fight. You'll need special equipment or skills to take on larger vessels, but your fighter ships are agile, able to execute barrel rolls, lock onto targets with homing missiles, and dogfight with police if you inadvertently break some city law like flying too close to a major tourist attraction or robbing a bank. And like your weapons, ships can be equipped with augments, enabling you to do things like firing healing missiles at your co-op partners.
Project Muto is a free-to-play, open-world, third-person action RPG. This game is set in a futuristic universe where we play as an escort, traversing vast cities in search of dangerous anomalies and supernatural phenomena. Powers of Bazba is a sandbox game set in the holy land of Bazba. The goal of the game is rebuilding the ancient culture of Shima and restoring the once flourishing land's greatness. First Dwarf is an immersive action RPG with base building elements, which will test your survival and exploration skills in a fantasy open world, sprawling on islands floating in the sky.
Need to restore his father's name. But he's not alone. Ragnar, the Scarlet Dragon, stands by his side. Her wisdom counters society's bias against her scaling pride. Together, harnessing the power of the myth, they'll shape the land for a new world. They will discover the magic of flying islands and harvest the richness of
Welcome to Throne and Liberty, a free-to-play MMORPG that takes place in the vast open world of Elysium. Explore a land full of depth and opportunity, scale expansive mountain ranges for new vantage points, scan the open skies, and traverse sprawling plains.
The right mattress makes everything clear.
I know exactly where my passport is.
The right mattress matters.
We'll find yours.
Save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic and get a $300 instant gift during the Black Friday sale. Mattress Firm.
You might not have noticed that we cover an awful lot of different video games on this channel. Over the years, we've ranked entire franchises, applauded critical darlings, and publicly shamed those that let themselves down. Bloody hell, look at it go. What we've never done is curate a list of the games that are, in our humble opinion, nothing short. About time with the result of this thoughtless gargantuan list, we gathered everyone be a presenter, writer, editor, or phraser, and asked them this simple question. What games would you recommend absolutely everyone should play at least once? Now, to be clear, this is not a list of the best games ever, according to us or Metacritic. That's not what you should play necessarily, nor are we actually ranking these. So the game featured in the top spot is not necessarily any better than the game at number 1. Instead, this list is just our way of chronicling 101 fantastic titles that will always have a place.
The only thing we've stipulated is that they must be available on either current generation hardware or the previous one, i.e. any console released since 2012 or on PC. After all, it wouldn't be very cool of us to recommend games that are near impossible to get a hold of. We will be including remasters and remakes under that umbrella as long as they're worth playing in their own right. If you don't see one of your all-time favourites listed here, it's likely that they're only available to play via an emulator. And trust us, we're just as sad about it as you are.
Let's get to it, shall we? And then, I'm Peter.
And I'm Aston from Triple Jump, and here are the 101 video games everyone can play at least once.
Number 101, The Witcher 3 Wild. 15. If you're the sort of person who enjoys things like Merlin, Lord of the Rings, or Game of Thrones, then you'd probably enjoy any of the 3 main Witcher games. Most people would agree, however, that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is the most enjoyable, and what's more, to play the other to enjoy it. The Witcher 3 follows Geralt of Rivia as he tries to track down his daughter Ciri, a young woman adopted by the Lord of Surprise, all while facing off against various ghouls, goblins, and monsters. The heart of the many women in his life. CD Projekt's masterpiece was lauded by both critics and players for everything from its storytelling and well-developed characters to its stunning art direction and sound design. If all of that sounds like a cup of tea, then The Witcher 3 can be played in its original state on current and previous gen PlayStation and Xbox consoles, as well as on the Nintendo Switch and PC. Plus, CD Projekt are hard at work optimizing the game for the current generation, and the upgrade, which will be free for anyone who owns the game on PS4 or Xbox One, is set to be released sometime in 2022. 100. BioShock 2007. For those of you who are channel regulars, it won't come as much of a surprise that we've included BioShock among our favourite games of the time. We've made no secret because in fact we think it's an outstanding game. It isn't without good reason. The 2007 first-person shooter has an awful lot of things going for it. Set in the underwater city of Rapture, the game follows Jack as he attempts to escape the isolated distance, all while doing his best to avoid the psychotic, genetically enhanced splices of Big Daddies. Through the use of the Adam players are able to effectively give Jack superpowers, allowing him to set enemies on fire, electrocute them, and much more than just the wrist. BioShock is a triumph from start to finish, immersing players in a stunning world full of terrifying characters from the second their bathysphere descends into the ocean. Though the original was released during the 7th console generation, a remaster is available to play on more modern machines as part of BioShock the Collection. So, would you kindly give it a go? Number 99. World of Warcraft 2004. We couldn't possibly curate a list of the games that everyone should try at least once without talking about the world's biggest MMORPG, or massively multiplayer online role-playing game, if you want to get reasons to shoehorn in an appearance from Simon Miller about this. World of Warcraft players start out by choosing a realm to play, which boasts different features, then head into the all-important character creator. What's there then to choose their race and class, as well as making the biggest decision of all. After that, well, the world, before Warcraft is your oyster, really. Naturally, there are more quests than you can shake a stick at that level one character's going to be leveling up, and being an MMO, there's heavy emphasis on playing with other people. Our advice is to go out into the world of Warcraft, meet some new friends, plunder some dungeons together, and laugh about all the good times you had when you make it back to the local tavern. World of Warcraft is exclusive to PC and does cost players about it. But if you feel like trying it, you can play up to level 20. 98. The Last of Us. 13. It's probably fair to say that zombie games have been done to death, no pun intended, so it really takes something special to stand out from the shambling odds. Perhaps the reason The Last of Us is a favourite of so many gamers is that it isn't really a zombie game at heart, but rather is a story of human struggle with a post-apocalyptic setting. Developed by Naughty Dog and released in 2013, The Last of Us tells the story of Joel, a man tasked with smuggling teenage girl Ellie into Salt Lake City. Infected with the virus but showing no symptoms, Ellie may be. Not only is the story incredible, but every character in the game feels like a real person. The relationship between Joel and Ellie in particular captured the hearts of our audiences and was made all the more touching by the award-winning voice performances of Troy Baker. The Last of Us is a PlayStation exclusive. If you don't own a Sony machine, you're missing out. PlayStation, however, can pick up a remastered copy of The Last of Us for both PS4 and Number 97. Mass Effect 2. We toyed with the idea of putting all of the first 3 Mass Effect games on this list, but although the trilogy as a whole is excellent, Mass Effect 2 stands head and shoulders above the rest. Assuming the role of Commander Shepard, it's up to the player to assemble a motley crew of allies and prevent the insectoid collectors from wiping out all life in the galaxy. What's great about Mass Effect 2 is that it took all of the things that made the predecessor so great, cast of well-developed characters, and made the experience better by virtue of various quality of life. BioWare made improvements, scrapped weapon overheating in favour of ammo, and integrated the Paragon Renegade system. Though Mass Effect 2 simplified some of the first game's RPG elements in order to focus more on the shooting, this ultimately benefited from keeping the game moving and making it more satisfying. Although Mass Effect 2 is easily the best game in the series, we do recommend playing Mass Effect 3 as well. The remaster of the trilogy was released in 2021, so anyone interested in Commander Shepard's exploits can experience them on current and previous generations. We can't recommend it by comparison. Number 90.
Morning. Would you like a coffee? Cappuccino?
And a nice coffee.
Whatever cup you love. Curious coffee.
Congratulations on building a team. Ready or not, remember this. It doesn't matter where you start, as long as you start. Look it up. We used to just store your files, and now there's no limit to what we can help you do. Do more with Dropbox.
6. Borderlands 2. 12. Are you the sort of person who likes bright colours, big guns, and holding more loot than your average dragon? Then, oh boy, do I have a recommendation. Originally released in 2012, Borderlands 2 sees players take control of the Vault, align themselves with the planet's many misfits and rogues in order to defeat the megalomaniacal and devilishly charismatic Cecil. Borderlands 2 is an action-packed romp from the start, filled to the brim with slightly unhinged characters of dubious moral alignments and enough content to keep players entertained for weeks on end. The scores of ludicrous enemies provide an excellent way to blow off steam, and the game's unique art style makes players feel like they're. What's more, the procedurally generated loot system means that the game boasts literally millions of guns, so even the most trigger-happy among you will be satisfied by all the firepower that's on offer. A remastered version of Borderlands 2 is available to play on all good current machines. There's even a VR version if you're that way inclined. We also highly recommend picking up an edition that includes the DLC, as Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep is a must-play for anyone with a passing interest in tabletop role. 95. Pokemon Yellow. 1998. We're casting our minds back to 1998 now to look at a game that captured the hearts and imaginations of millions of people all across the world. Perhaps one of the main reasons that Pokemon Yellow features one of many people's top games of all time is that it really does have something for everyone. Younger players were excited by all the and more mature audiences had a great deal of fun exploring the many towns in the Kanto region and battling with their Pokemon. One master. The main difference between Yellow and 1996 is red. Blue is that the game is updated to more closely reflect reality. Alongside being able to train their very own Pikachu, audiences got to meet characters like Lucy and James, who they wouldn't have. Though the game is now well over 20 years old, Poke fans can still secure their very own Pikachu. In 2016, Nintendo re-released Pokemon Yellow for their 3DS Virtual Console service, retaining all of the old graphics and sound, but introducing wireless functionality that allows players to trade their Pokemon with their pals. It is worth noting, however, that the 3DS store is due to close in March of 2023, so if you're planning on catching them all. Number 94, God of War 2018. Whilst curating the entries, we so desperately wanted to include 2005's God of War alongside its 2018 reboot, but it is sadly only playable on the PlayStation 2 and 3. Consider this an honourable mention, though, God of War 2005. Unlike its predecessors, 2018's God of War eschews the ancient Greek setting and instead explores Norse mythology. Set several years after the events of God of War 3, Kratos is now living in ancient Norway, has remarried to son Atreus. Sadly, his new wife has passed away. In order to fulfill her final wish, Kratos and Atreus must travel to the highest peak of the Nine Realms so that they can scatter their ashes. God of War enjoyed a huge amount of success, pleasing both players and critics with its rich lore and engaging narrative, action-packed gameplay, and the charming information. If you fancy taking up your axe and joining Kratos and Atreus on their epic journey, then you can do so on PlayStation 4. God of War was also released to PC in 2022, so even if you don't have a Sony machine, slice Flash. Number 93, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 2007. Not only would we like to commend Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare for being an all-round great game, but we must also applaud it for its willingness to try new things. After all, it's the SAS day, who dares win? And in a world where, at the time, you couldn't move more than 5 feet without tripping over a World War II shooter, the campaign takes place in 2011 and sees players thrust into the midst of a civil war in Russia, a conflict caused by a separatist group's coup d'etat in an unnamed country. Taking on the role of the US Marine Sergeant SAS Commando, players experience conflicts all around the world. Unlike many other shooters, Modern Warfare keeps its gameplay consistent. So one minute you'll be heading into a fight, guns blazing, and the next you'll be sneaking around with a covert operation. Furthermore, the game's and don't even get us started on the multiplayer. Talk about a game. Originally released during the 7th generation of home consoles, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was remastered in 2016 with all of the action and suspense. Number 92. Outer Wilds. There are many video games out there that feature a timely mechanic in some sort of capacity. Few quite as special as 2019's Outer Wilds. The premise is quite simple. In just 22 short minutes, the solar system will be wiped out by a supernova. Fortunately for our unnamed protagonist, though, they're taught tiny. So each time the universe explodes, by exploring the solar system and learning from previous loops, players can uncover information about a long-extinct alien race known as the Nomai, which will in turn lead them to the core. The player is left to find things for themselves rather than being spoon-fed by the game. The charm of Outer Wilds. Incredibly satisfying as you find pieces of the puzzle and starts to count. Unsurprisingly, Outer Wilds was nominated for several accolades and won 3 British Academy Game Awards and a Golden Joystick, though it originally launched on PC and Xbox One. It's since been released on PS4 and can also be played on the current generation. Switch players as well. 91. Resident Evil 2002. Though it may not be the first survival horror video game ever made, it's hard to deny the impact of Resident Evil. Resident Evil was originally released in 1996 but was remade in 2002 with shocking graphics and of additional content. The game sees special tactics and rescue service members Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield trapped inside the engine alongside several of their colleagues who mindless dominance. After choosing to control like Chris, players must traverse the mansion and solve a series of puzzles in order to uncover the conspiracy that lies in the heart of the whole story. Though they are armed, both Chris and Jill have limited inventory space, which means that carrying enough reserves of ammo and health items. Players will often choose whether to fight their adversaries. Resident Evil is able to maintain a consistent level of challenge and the tense atmosphere throughout the game. if you're in the mood for a good spooky, but you also get that great match of flexing. Only Resident Evil Remake was initially consoles. These days, Series X/S, PS4 and 5, Switch. Number 19, Fallout 3, 2008. Before Fallout 3 was released in 2008, it had been a whole decade since the world had gotten to enjoy a major installment of the series. And oh boy, had things changed. In the 10 years since Fallout 2, the franchise had been acquired by Bethesda, who got to work overhauling the series into something unrecognizable. Gone were the 2D isometric graphics and turn-based combat as predecessors, we didn't like those as well, replaced with shiny new 3D graphics and the VATS combat system. Set 200 years after the Great War, players join the protagonists known only as the Lone Wanderer as they set out into the wasteland in search of their missing father. Despite its technical issues, Fallout 3 was a massively ambitious game that gave players a hugely interactive RPG experience. The combination of the barren setting and the minimalist sound design kept players immersed in the harsh, open world, whilst the VATS system helped to make the combat fun and engaging. Those looking to try their hand at surviving in the nuclear wasteland can do so on both current and previous generations, as well as PC, and obviously able to soak in that. We don't recommend actually exposing yourself to radiation, though. We gather it's not very good for your health. Number 89, Mega Man 2, 1988. Although Mega Man is now a gaming icon, this franchise got off to a shaky start. The OG Mega Man from 1987 was well received by critics, but because it didn't sell very well, particularly in the West, Capcom were reluctant to make a sequel. They did eventually give Mega Man 2 the green light though, but it was on the proviso that the teams working on the game did so alongside other projects, so the staff ended up developing the game in their own time. Their hard work and dedication paid off, however. The action platformer ended up being a huge success, impressing critics and selling a whopping 1.5 million copies worldwide. Mega Man 2 once again pits the titular hero against Dr. Wily, who, following his defeat in the previous game, has created a whole load of new robot masters in an attempt to best our hero. Despite being over 3 decades old, Mega Man 2 is still available to play on pretty much every modern platform. Fans of the retro title can pick the game up as part of the Mega Man Legacy collection, which bundles together the first 6 Mega Man titles for less than the cost of your average takeaway. You don't even get diarrhea after playing it. Oh, what a bargain! Number 88, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 1992. We're sticking with the retro theme. We look back at yet another blue protagonist, only this time he's a real prickly character. Unperturbed by his previous defeat at the hands of everyone's favourite spiny mammal, Dr. Robotnik returns in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 to try to achieve world domination once more. Yet again, he's after the Chaos Emerald. It's up to Sonic and his pal Tails to thwart this evil scheme. Following the success of Sonic the Hedgehog, players were champing at the bit to get hold of the sequel, and it did not disappoint. The levels were well designed and fun to play, the graphics were improved over its predecessor, and Sonic's new companion was well received by fans and critics alike. In fact, really the only fault anyone could find with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was that it was a bit on the easy side. But let's face it, when a game is as fun to play as Sonic 2, it doesn't really matter. Sonic's second outing has been ported to more devices than we can shake a stick at, and believe us, we're basically pro-stick shakers by this point, so fans won't be stuck for places to play the game. Currently, it's available on PC, Xbox One and Series X/S, 3DS and Nintendo Switch, and also on PlayStation 4 and 5 as part of the Sonic Origins remaster compilation. So go at it, you little blue lovers. Number 87, Nier Automata, 2017. With most of us being northerners here at Team Triple Jump, when we purchase a video game, we like to know we're getting our money's worth. So replayability is absolutely a consideration when it comes to picking up a new title. With that said, there's replayability and then there's Nier Automata, a game that simply has to be played several times to be fully appreciated. Nier Automata is set in the year 11,945 AD
RPG in the midst of a war between human-made androids and a machine army from another world. Players take on the roles of several of the androids, and on each different playthrough, they'll explore different facets of the near-autonomous story. Aside from its rich, complex narrative, the players were impressed with the game's artful blending of the action and RPG genres, its beautiful presentation of a futuristic dystopia, and its fun hack-and-slash combat mechanics. Nier Automata was originally released for the PS4 and PC, but was ported to Xbox One in 2018, and can now be downloaded on PS5, Xbox Series X/S, and Nintendo Switch, which is good news all round, really. What's choice? Number 86. Hollow Knight, 2017. One of the great things about the rise of crowdfunding sites is that creators who would have previously struggled to get their projects out into the world are now able to do so with the help of backers willing to invest a few quid. In recent years, crowdfunding campaigns have given birth to a number of excellent indie titles, and one of our personal favourites is 2017's Hollow Knight. An action-adventure title of the Metroidvania persuasion, Hollow Knight was unleashed upon the world following a successful Kickstarter campaign set up by developer and publisher Team Cherry. The game's protagonist is the titular knight, who must uncover the truth behind the infection, which drove the citizens of Hallownest to madness and turned them undead. Fair warning, Hollow Knight is challenging. Some players have gone as far as to liken its difficulty to games like Dark Souls. But while there certainly is a steep learning curve, it's absolutely worth it to experience the atmospheric setting, compelling narrative, and stunning visuals. If you're up for a challenge, Hollow Knight can be found on both the current generation and previous one, and regardless of which platform you choose, you are in for a fantastic, if slightly tough, ride. Number 85.
Get away from it all in the all-new Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Don't test it, don't approve.
Undertale 2015. If you don't know anything about it, you could be forgiven. But Undertale is nothing more than just another indie RPG. This could not be further from the truth, though. Behind the simplistic art style is a game with an awful lot of heart. Undertale tells the story of a small child who has fallen through a magic barrier into the underground, a place beneath the surface of the earth that's full of monsters. By either fighting or pacifying said monsters, the player must ensure that the child is able to make their way home. The game has received praise from both critics and players for everything from its story and characters to its combat and music. What's perhaps most impressive, however, is that all of this greatness was achieved by the efforts of one man, Toby Fox, who developed the game, published it, and even wrote the soundtrack. Golly, he must get up very early morning. Undertale was originally released for the PC in 2015, but since made its way to PlayStation and Xbox. Do you prefer your Undertale experience on the move, perhaps? Well, that's fine, because you can also play it on the PlayStation Vita and Switch. Number 84, Batman Arkham Asylum, 2009. Like most popular superheroes, Batman has starred in more than his fair share of video games over the years, but though many of them have been great, the title that stands head and shoulders above the rest is Rocksteady's Batman Arkham Asylum. The 2009 title follows everyone's favourite moody orphan billionaire, that's the titular Batman, as he traverses the titular Arkham Asylum, attempts to thwart the non-titular Joker's mad schemes. On this occasion, the Joker trapped Batman in the asylum with a bunch of mad supervillains who can't stand the sight of him, planted bombs around the city, and threatened Gotham with annihilation should anyone attempt to set foot on Arkham Island. Not only is Arkham Asylum the best Batman title in our writer's opinion, but it's often cited by critics as being the best superhero game ever made. There's little doubt of this, down to its stunning visuals, well-written story, satisfying combat and stealth, and outstanding voice performances from the likes of Kevin Conroy, Arlene Sorkin, and Mark Hamill. If you're desperate to squeeze your buttocks into tight latex and kick some bad guy bottom, number one, aren't you? And number two, you can play the remastered version of Arkham Asylum on Xbox One, Series X/S, PS4 and 5, and PC. Or you can actually don a latex suit and go fight crime. Be front, don't you? Number 83, Deadly Premonition, 2010. There have been a number of games over the years that have been inspired by David Lynch's wacky murder mystery, but if we have to pick a favourite, it would undoubtedly be Deadly Premonition. Released in 2010, Deadly Premonition puts players into the shoes of FBI Special Agent Francis Morgan. The game takes place in the fictional town of Greenvale, and it's up to players to get to the bottom of a young murder. To say that Deadly Premonition divided critics is an understatement. In fact, it holds the Guinness World Record for being the most critically divisive survival horror game ever made. Some outlets bash everything, trolls, voice acting, whereas others praise it for just how weird it is. Now, don't get us wrong, we know that Deadly Premonition isn't a game that everyone is going to enjoy, because it is, for want of a better word, fat clocks insane. It is definitely a title everyone should experience at least once, if only to decide how fat clocks insane is. Though the game can be played on PC, its port is notoriously bad, so we can't recommend you bother with Deadly Premonition directly. Deadly Premonition Origins, on the other hand, is a decent port and can be found exclusively on the Switch. You can also find the original 360 version on Microsoft Store for those interested in playing. Excellent. Number 82, Super Mario 64, 1996. What? You didn't think to make a list of 101 games everyone should play without giving at least one shout-out to the world's most iconic plumber, did you? What do you take us for? There was some debate down at Triple Towers over which Mario games to include in our definitive one. Spoiler alert, this isn't the last time we see this absolute megastar list. The title that came up again and again, however, was the 1996 Nintendo 64 classic, Super Mario 64. The title saw Mario make a leap into 3D for the very first time as he set out to save his beloved Princess Peach from the perennial menace Bowser. In order to rescue players need to platform their way around the castle, collecting power stars as they go. Some are just out in the open, whilst others require Mario to beat a boss, solve a puzzle, or race an opponent. Critics were hugely impressed by Super Mario 64, praising the beautiful 3D world, the diversity of the gameplay, and just how fun it was overall. So, feel like stepping up to the plate to save the princess yourself? Well, luckily for you, Super Mario 64 is still available Wii U, and as part of the N64 lineup, the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack gives players access to a number of classic titles, including number 81, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, 1998. I'm pretty pleased with that segue, not gonna lie. Another Nintendo series that provoked much argument in the office is The Legend of Zelda, and as much as we'd like to have included the entire Zelda back catalogue, except for those horrid village CDI efforts, we must show some restraint. There was no doubt in anyone's mind, however, that regardless of which combination of titles we went with, Ocarina of Time would be amongst them. The fifth game in the Legend of Zelda series sees our boy Link travelling through time to reverse the evil that has been brought upon the world of Hyrule by Big Bad Ganondorf. Throughout the game, players can use the titular wind instrument to play different melodies, each of which helps Link to solve a variety of puzzles and brings him one step closer to banishing Ganondorf's evil world. According to review aggregator Metacritic, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is the best game ever made, boasting a frankly staggering near-perfect average score of 99 out of 100. As we've already mentioned, Zelda fans seeking the nostalgia of Ocarina of Time can find the game bundled in with the Switch Online Plus expansion pack, and it can also be found on the Wii U. Yes.
Number 80, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, 2003. Over the years, there have been more Star Wars games than you can shake a lightsaber at. There's one, however, that tops the list of pretty much everyone here at Beecham, as well as, spoiler alert, our every Star Wars game ranked list. And that was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Set some 4,000 years before the formation of the Galactic Empire, KOTOR is an RPG which players get to create their very own Force user and take on the Sith Lord Darth Malak. Regardless of whether or not you're a Star Wars fan, though if you're not, Tiny Peter will fight you, KOTOR has something for everyone. The game's story is perfectly in keeping with the rest of the franchise, while still being accessible for those who don't even know a Wookiee from a Wampa. Additionally, the RPG elements and combat are meaty enough for hardcore gamers, but not so much that they turn off newer players. The original game can be played on Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, Switch and PC. Before you Sony fans go getting all upset though, it's worth remembering that a remake is currently in the works, but set to release as a PS5 and PC timed exclusive. Though how similar it will be to the original we can't say. We're good, but we're not that good. Number 7.
At Target, get low prices on money. Light up your holidays for less at Target.
9. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, 2009. If you've ever wondered what it would be like to go out into the world and search for old-timey artifacts, but like our writer, you're a massive introvert who would rather die than do anything outdoorsy, then you probably quite like the Uncharted series. All of the games are pretty good, but there are 2 that we'd recommend above all else. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and another we'll get to in a short while. Cheeky chappy Nathan Drake returns in Uncharted 2, only this time he's on the hunt for the Sintamani Stone and the city of Shambhala. Upon its release, Uncharted 2 was universally critically acclaimed, with both reviewers and players praising the game for its visual design, narrative excellence, and the portrayal of Nathan Drake by a little-known voice actor, Nolan North. He's not been in much, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't even know who he is. Uncharted 2 was originally released as a PlayStation 3 exclusive, so you're going to need to invest in a Sony machine in order to experience the adventure. Fortunately, there's no need to trawl through eBay to find a decent quality PS3, as the game has been remastered and now can be played on both PS4 and PS5. Number 78, Halo Combat Evolved, 2001. When Microsoft launched the original Xbox all the way back in 2001, they needed an exclusive that would ensure the console made its mark on the video game landscape, and oh boy did Halo Combat Evolved help them do just that. The game is set in the 26th century, by which time faster than light space travel has allowed humans to hop around the universe, colonising planets besides Earth. Old habits die hard, I guess. Players jump into the fancy green armour of Master Chief, a super soldier tasked with uncovering the secrets of the ring world, Halo. Naturally, there are other beings interested in the structure as well, and sadly, they're not all friendly ET sorts. Halo Combat Evolved won numerous Game of the Year awards, holds a staggering average of 97 out of 100 on Metacritic, and is often credited with modernising the FPS genre. The Halo series is a Microsoft exclusive, so anyone looking to join Master Chief in his quest to defeat the Covenant will need either a current or previous gen Xbox or a PC. The game is available as part of the Master Chief Collection, which also includes Halos 2, 3, ODST, 3, and 4, which is, in our opinion at least, a darn good deal. Number 77, Portal, 2007. If we could choose to make one piece of video game technology real, it would undoubtedly be the Portal gun. Think of the possibilities. You could get a beer out of the fridge without ever having to leave the sofa, cut your commute down to a fraction of the time, make that crime you always wanted to do with Sadly, science doesn't seem particularly fussed about turning my dreams into reality, and so I must make do with playing Portal several hundred times. This fantastic puzzler was first released as part of the Oracle box, and though halfway to episode 2 was ahead by now, Portal turned out to be surprisingly good player. It was like getting to the bottom of an ice cream sundae and finding a really fudgy chocolate brownie. Yum yum. By traversing a series of test chambers using only the provided portal gun, a device that fires into portals, protagonists Belle must escape the Aperture Science test facility. The puzzles start out simple enough, but quickly become more and more tricky as the player progresses. Think you can best the chambers and escape the facility? If so, then Portal Still Alive is available to play on Xbox One and Series X/S. Switch players can also get a slice of the action, and of course, the cake, thanks to the Portal Companion Collection, and PC players can still find the original on Steam. Number 76, Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, 2006. Though Todd Howard seems to have forgotten there are other Elder Scrolls games in existence besides Skyrim, we have not. and it's our hearty recommendation that anyone who loves a bit of sword and sorcery has a go at Oblivion. And let's face it, who doesn't love a bit of sword and sorcery? Oblivion takes place within Cyrodiil, and sees the protagonist doing their darndest to thwart the plans of a fanatical cult who intends to open a portal to demonic realm, and unleash whatever nasties lie within. The game transports players to a meticulously crafted world where they're free to do more or less as they please. Obviously, the main
A defining trait of a wall is its visibility, typically, but the virtual world does not follow the same rules as the physical one and requires a wall not to be made of matter, not to be seen, and sometimes games can actually get pretty clever with it. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Links, 20 more invisible walls in video games. Yep, we've done a video on this already. Shocking, I know. But there's some pretty funny invisible walls out there. Like in SpongeBob, Bikini Bottom, Paper Mario, Halo 3, Serious Sam 3, Mother 3. A lot of 3s in that one. But also in Far Cry 2 and 6. If you dig what we're throwing down in this video, go watch that one too. Without any further ado, starting off at number 20, it's Fallout 4's End of the World. Normally, if you wander too far away from the playable area in Fallout games, you'll just get hit with a ton of radiation and a message telling you to go back. And honestly, if all else fails, you stick with radiation. But in Fallout 4, with the prologue, they really make sure you stick to the developer mandated path. When the bombs start falling and you flee your house, instead of heading towards the fallout shelter, just go anywhere else. Go too far in any direction, and the game will reward you with nuclear annihilation by literally dropping a bomb. And I mean a bomb. I don't know, maybe an H-bomb. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it's at or hydrogen they were blowing up on the beginning of Fallout 4, or if it was even specified. It's nuclear bombs. That's what matters. The funny thing about it, though, is that it's not on a timer or anything. You can waste as much time as you want during the game. As long as you stick to the required path. It's just, if you go out too far, the apocalypse is like, no, not over here. And number 19, the high-on-life terrifying sandworm. In order to reach the high-tech city of Port Serene, you need to pass through the dusty surface of the planet Earth, with deserts stretching in all directions. Anytime there's infinite desert in a sci-fi game, there's probably a sandworm somewhere, and no surprise, there's one in this game as well. Wander around the edge of the map, and you can even find signs of warning of that sandworm. So it's pretty obvious when you're in the danger zone. It does let you ignore the sign, and if you keep going too far, it'll trigger a cutscene back. It looks like Invincible at first until the face opens up to reveal a cartoonishly goofy second face. I mean, it's not on funny. It looks cartoonish. Yeah. It's one of the rare standpoints that doesn't actually change, or at least you don't see it. It just forward, you keep your hands up and your face is black. So I guess, like, there's a chance that these samples are like filming it. Not allowed to sample territory. You go back to your territory. Not that I'm big, unknowing, hungry people. I was just, you can't step over the line. Line here. Don't do that. Okay? Thank you. And number 18 is Alan Wake 2's The Darkness. The streets of Noir, New York seem like they stretch on forever. Like basically everything else in the dark place, it's an illusion. If you intentionally try to travel outside the normal life, your vision will get blurred and the screen goes out. If you keep moving forward, eventually you find yourself walking back into the player. It's clever because it doesn't feel like an invisible wall, but you keep moving forward. You don't really feel like it's just that you got automatically. It's a loop, or it's alright. Maybe it's not a loop. Not sure if I'm supposed to say that or not, but that's what he says. And number 7 is the Assassin's Creed. The area not available. The early Assassin's Creed games were built in invisible walls. Feel out of place in a game. But they actually had an in-game explanation for them that kind of makes sense. Instead of just throwing up invisible barriers to limit your progress, the game would put up these white fixed walls that go up to the edge of the playable zone. And you'd hit a message that's like, area not available to desynchronization imminent. Which is clever because the Assassin's Creed game central to the scene is you're going back in time kind of through genetic memory using a machine called the animens, so somebody can relive their ancestors' lives. How this all works is kind of a little murky as but at first they were pretty clear about it. You could only experience and see things that are part of genetic memory. So if a person never went to a different city or at that time this thing didn't happen, you couldn't do it, but the computer doesn't generate it. It's a clever way to explain the limits of the simulation. They're still basically just walls, but they have a legit reason to be there, and it doesn't feel weird. And number 16 is the Simpsons game, where Krusty says to get back. In a Simpsons game, one of the collectibles are literal cliches, common video game tropes and tricks where you find them and the comic book guy just very good comments on it. They hit on pretty much everything you can think of, so of course Invisible Wall gets to it too. You can find one in the level mob rules right at start. You just walk up to this Krusty says get back barrier, which blocks the way across the street, and comic book guy pipes in with it's real original. And number 15 is Alone in the Dark, the thing outside the front door. The original survival horror game had a lot of perks. Remember in Resident Evil 1 where you first tried to leave the mansion before you get inside out? Alone in the Dark did it. It's funny we're saying it after the Simpsons point, because that's a good thing. Well, the Simpsons did it first. But anyway, Alone in the Dark did it in a totally different way. Instead of having to deal with vicious zombie dogs, if you just try and leave the haunted mansion, you're confronted by this, the big old elephant.
Aren't you glad you got the titanium iPhone 15 Pro X4? I am glad. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 15 Pro titanium on us now. Freedom to upgrade every year. Am I going to get that back? Oh. Show it out, pass it on, and beat the timer.
Dalmatian. Zebra.
Here's something to eat for breakfast. Pancakes.
Apple.
Pizza? Looks like a little relay from Playmonster.
Completely trapping you inside the mansion. For a game that's mostly pretty goofy these days, it's kind of a creepy reveal. Probably the most Lovecraftian the game gets. And number 14 is Hitman Absolution's Endless Train. Hitman developers Ayame Interactive are nothing if not clever, so instead of putting a bog standard with all of their levels, they usually go for something a little more justified. Like here, in this one level, there's a train crossing on the edge of the map. You get too close to it, and a train starts crossing and just doesn't stop. It keeps going, blocking off any progress going in that direction through the level. So it's not really going through the level, you know? If you turn around, the train eventually passes. But when you stand on the edge of the map, you keep going. It's one of those situations where they could have easily dropped it. You're leaving the mission area warning, but instead they came up with something less annoying. It's not realistic, but I really enjoy the idea that the train goes until you walk away. And you look back. Oh, dang! Just when I turned around. Okay, I guess I'm gonna go back. Oh, there's another train! I'm never gonna get across here. Also, my hair fell off years ago. And number 13 is Smalllands. I don't know how to say the name of it. It's still not the accent. There's a hungry bird, though. I mean, we've seen angry birds, but hungry ones? So you play as a little guy in a huge world, Smalllands, right? Smalllands? Honestly, keeping it trapped in a small area would be pretty easy for children. But the dev came up with something way more amusing. If you try to fling yourself out of the play area, a big old croak will swoop down out of the air and grab you. I mean, that's one way to keep it. Right? Bird of prey. You just give props to my AV brother. Good job, Johnny Crow. And number 12 is Ghost about the break point. Being eaten by the nano wolf. You'll get shredded by its It's actually justified, because the same swarm of drones forced it land on the archipelago in the first place, with no way out. It's another invisible wall that's decently justified by the story itself. The entire setup for this one is to get trapped on this island without the backup for the first area that had taken over. Activated Legion, the swarm of drones that acted as a defensive perimeter on the island and won't let anybody enter out. If you try to get into an helicopter and fly into it, they'll come back and do it again. Like, there's no reason for you to think that that second helicopter is going to do it better. And number 11 is Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts with LED panels. This is one of those types of games that really has to limit the players in some way, because it's all about creating different vehicles to deal with various challenges. On the Xbox 360, that meant to limit just how high up you can fly and how far you can travel. So every level had to be contained somehow. Most games just throw in your basic invisible walls. But in this game's case, it turned out to be one thing. It was also one of the last times they did so. They have to say, you know what, let's make connected. Haha! And they suck. But instead of just forcing players to turn around, when they got to the edge of the map, the game used the premises advantage. The whole idea is set up by the Lord of Games, who's already in collaborative stage which is basically where you find that extended server. Levels are actually surrounded by big LED screens projecting the skybox. So let's just say, eat your heart out with the main Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts did it first. What do you have to say about that, John's background? And number 10 is Lego Marvel Superheroes, the Brooklyn Bridge construct. Most Lego games don't give you the freedom that this one does. You're off the leash right from the start, free to swing and fly around the Lego 5 version in New York as much as you want. Of course, there's got to be a limit somewhere, right? Other than the usual invisible walls, there's also a barrier on the Brooklyn Bridge, which cuts you off halfway through. There's a construction worker who tries to stop you by saying the bridge is being worked on. But if you keep trying to get past him, they eventually give up. And if there's just nothing past him, like there's just nothing on the other side of the bridge.
You don't really want to get past him. I mean, visually the bridge is under the there, but I'll let you know when it's
I like that. I mean, it's Lego. There doesn't have to be something beyond there. There's nothing saying that whoever built whatever you're doing had to build all the boroughs. And number 9 is Unreal Tournament 2004, blasted by the ion cannon. This all-time great multiplayer shooter had one of the most entertaining ways to keep players in strength to far outside the map. Rather than just a boring countdown followed by instant death, if you wandered too far in the maps that allowed for wandering, the game would just call down ion cannon blasts and, blast you with ions. And if there's one thing that you, as an Unreal Tournament combatant, can't tolerate, it's indiscriminate ion pelting. It wasn't just a deterrent to stop players from going out of bounds either. It was also a useful strategy to take out people nearby. The blasts are impossible to avoid. I mean, if you can't survive the ions, why would your opponents be able to? And number 8 is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas' high wanted level. Less invisible walls, more like security systems. That guy. So if you strayed completely outside the intended play area in San Andreas, your wanted level would automatically shoot up and police would pursue you relentlessly until you either return or die. This is most easily seen at the beginning of the game when you're not allowed to leave the city of Los Santos. Like, jump barriers, just swim outside the city, you're immediately swarmed by an endless army of cops that want you dead. I remember having a lot of fun triggering this on purpose just to see how long I could last, which is, by the way, usually not too long. And number 7 is Metroid Other M's literal invisible walls. Metroid Other M has a laughable story and some painful dialogue, but the gameplay actually wasn't that bad as long as you're tempering your expectations. It's no Metroid Prime, but what is? One pretty clever idea seen in the game is when you go into the biosphere in the space station. It seems like a vast savanna, but at a certain point you're blocked from progressing. Rather than just being straight up invisible walls, they're walls. The natural environment you're seeing is mostly a projection on a solid surface. It's pretty convincing for a Wii game. It actually had pieces for a second. And number 6 is Nights into Dreams, blasted back into the level. There were motocross games back in the day that did this, but they weren't the only things that were blasted back in the playable area. The relentlessly weird Nights into Dreams does something like that as well. Nights into Dreams, kind of what Yuji Naka did instead of Sonic, for the sake of that. I mean, it seems like Yuji Naka kind of needs to be in charge of a really strange game to distract him from insider trading. Because after he ran out of weird games when Down in Wonderworld wasn't exactly a success, he got busted doing that. Anyway, anytime you fly too far outside the levels, the environment changes into these purple blocks. You fly past those, the game loads you into an invisible cannon and shoots you back in the level. There's no explaining any of this. That's just the way the game is. By the way, really good game. Beyond strange. And number 5 is Prototype Infinite Airstrikes. Another New York City adventure with a little more apocalyptic twist. In Prototype, you play as a living virus trapped in a madhouse plague-infested New York that's in constant chaos. The military's running wild, there's mutants everywhere, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Anybody would want out of there, but if you try to cross the bridge out of Manhattan, you'll just get bombarded with endless military airstrikes. Eventually you'll run into the actual invisible wall, but it can be fun seeing how long you can dodge the airstrikes, which is surprisingly not the hardest thing in the world. And number 4 is Tomb Raider 3's Deadly Subway. Subway tunnels rarely safe in video games. Tomb Raider 3, excellent example. In a level set in London, there's multiple tunnels you have to go through to progress the level, but if you wander too far from the intended path, Lara's just going to run face first into an oncoming train. And this is PS1 era Lara, who can take on dinosaurs without breaking a sweat. I'm sorry though, you can't dual wield pistols at a moving train and expect to win. If I've learned anything from these games, it's never go down a dark subway tunnel ever. I don't care how well endowed the lady you're following is. Don't follow her down one of those damn dark subway tunnels.
Remember when this was the internet? This was a movie network. This was a social network. And this was investing. It's not that world anymore. It's changed, adapted, and we changed with it. For over 15 years, eToro has been adapting to meet the demands of the modern world with smart investing tools to help you invest in multiple assets, like stocks, crypto, and options. It's a social community built right into the app, so you can ask questions and see what others are investing in. And even with all these features, we've kept the app easy to use, so anyone can get started, not just these guys. The modern world requires a modern investing tool. eToro, built for the modern investor.
Learning a degree may have really changed my life, but having a degree made me have more opportunities, I have more confidence, making more knowledge, and I'm really proud of this one. Este es mi regreso. Empieza el tuyo a partir nuevo, aquí vivimos.
Number 3 is Pokemon Sword and Shield Mr. Mime. Remember that Mime from that game? This is that, but in Pokemon form. You see it in a Spike Roof Gym, which is unique in that it plays out like a beat 'em up. You go down this long city street fighting Pokemon trainers. Right. To keep you in the combat zone, there's a Mr. Mime in your way. Pretending there's a wall there, which of course there actually is. So yeah, creative way to show an invisible wall that's straight up blocking you for no reason. I mean, that's never stopped the Pokemon games before. They throw up invisible walls all the time. But in this case, the Pokemon company came up with something a little more creative than the usual nothing. And number 2 is Slayer's X, Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer. This intentionally shitty FPS perfectly captures a very specific era of first-person shooters. It's basically Redneck Rampage if it knew what it was doing. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in this one, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on exactly what any of it is. In the Cottonwood mobile home level near the end, you're instructed to go forward on this road, but there's nothing stopping you from turning around and heading back towards the tunnel. If you do it, which any self-respecting secret hunter will, then you'll suddenly get ambushed by this one skeleton monster, the way we just call it Skelly. It's the only enemy like this in the entire game. All it does is chase you, and if it touches you, you die. It's a nasty little trap that serves no purpose other than to block you from progressing in that direction, and it's too fast to get past and kill you every time. Say what you will about the game, they do know how to keep you on your toes. And finally, at number 1, Dead Meets Lead in Malaria. This totally unknown Steam shooter has one thing going for it. It is absolutely insane with the invisible wall. These things are everywhere. They're nearly impossible to avoid, and when you hit them, the game will flash a big malaria warning. You start getting swarmed by bugs that damage you and slow you down. With what? What are you getting by the bugs? From the bugs? Yeah, the way this game limits your movement is malaria. It's so stupid that it's almost funny if it wasn't so annoying. In any other game, the flashing screen, the bugs would be enough, but these guys knew this invisible wall needed the extra touch. You gotta flash the word malaria in giant letters. Perfect! Ship it! And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, it's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see the first is, of course, the subscription. Subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon Hero. We'll see you next time right here on Gaming.
2011 was 12 years ago. You're welcome. As I grow older and wrinklier, I bear witness to a whole new generation of gamers who don't remember ye old times quite the way I do. Sure, you newer crowd know about Dark Souls, but many of you probably weren't around when it was in its heyday. From Software had already been around for a while and had their fans through series like Armored Core and Kingsfield, but Dark Souls was the game that put them on the world stage. Originally a spiritual successor to the much more experimental, far less polished, but no less imaginative and ambitious Demon Souls, Dark Souls was an expansion on that prototype of a formula that became an instant classic, creating ripples across the entire gaming industry still felt to this day. So influential was From Software's magnum opus that it birthed an entire subgenre of games inspired by it. And these days, it's hard to browse Steam at all without tripping over titles carrying that ever-vague tag of story. And yes, you probably knew this coming in here already. It's pretty hard. Dark Souls difficulty has become something of a meme over the years, to the entire series of depth. Not from a gameplay perspective necessarily, but from a marketing one. To the gaming public and gaming media at the time, Dark Souls was a trial by fire, only for the most hardcore of hardcore games. An oasis of brutality in a desert of games that had become too painful, over-complicated, and oversimplified. And sure, there is some truth to that. This was not a game that was tripping over itself to please or keep your attention. It presented itself to you, it was that you became better at it, getting the wall, the exploring of everything it had to offer on your own. Well, mostly, but we'll get to that. It was a challenge, especially for the time, but couldn't more than people yourself after one aspect of it. If you've only ever heard about it, you would have assumed it was just a raid game in the same vein as I Want to Be the Galaxy just with a bigger budget. Marketing for the game certainly didn't help. For God's sake, the title of its eventual PC port was the Prepare to Die. And oh boy, did this come with its fair share of elitism. You couldn't dislike Dark Souls without being called a scrubby casual, unfit to enjoy its magnificence. And thus did one of the most notorious phrases meme its way into pop culture, get good. Something uttered to anyone who expressed displeasure or frustration with the game, invalidating any and all criticism by placing the blame solely on the person's skill or lack thereof. Personal taste, a legitimate flaw with the game? Here's a bad boy cry about it. I should clarify, I love this game to death, but this mentality is focused on this one aspect of it then, and still does. There was much more to Dark Souls that made it great than it just being hard. The level design, art direction, music, the world, the story. There was so much raw love and effort put into it that I felt this underappreciated. All that's not underappreciated now. I had to quoting all that, but there's still plenty of it that I don't hear mentioned enough. So I decided to revisit it and see just how well it holds up to myself. I've already gone back and played it many times before in the past, but I never really approached it with a critical eye, and been more willing to admit what it does well and what it doesn't. Before we set off on this journey, I should mention that I'll be playing the remastered version, because despite all my problems with it, it is the most stable way to play Dark Souls on the PC. The original port was notoriously bad, and trying to record this game off my original PlayStation 3 version was always a minor nightmare, since the console's hardware never seemed to play nice with things like Elgato. It is unfortunate though, because the remastered version, while it is still basically the exact same game and keeps the vast majority of it untouched, makes a few changes to the visuals that I don't believe. I'll get that more in a bit though, this intro's pushing 5 minutes by this point, and we got a long road ahead of us. So pack your bags and gather around the bonfire, kids. We're gonna be here for a while. I'll be taking the instant path through the game, best I can from beginning to end. This means no master key. Sorry, old friend. We'll be going with black fire bombs instead. 2. I'll be playing a strength faith build, since I was looking to try something new for this playthrough. So we're starting cleric. 3. To the very best of my abilities, I'm going to try and do every single NPC's quest line to completion. So where's at the very least. This does mean that I summoned NPCs for the boss fights in the video. I'm still not 100% sure if you really need to finish some of those quests, but I just wanted to be sure. So I needed summoning boss, so at the very least I was summoning so well. Also, I'll say right now, I didn't get far with Graves. I kind of forgot about them after saving them. Oops. And finally, 4. I'm not going to go super in-depth into the game's lore. Dark Souls is famous for being the fucking iceberg of video game stories once you start delving into it. And to explain it in detail would require me taking at least a 2-week crash course on Body Vidya, and this video has taken long enough. There's plenty of other people on YouTube who've covered it far better than I ever could, so just go look it up for yourself if you're interested. That said, I will at least be giving my own summary of what I do know as we go through where it's relevant. This isn't guaranteed to be accurate, but I'll try my best. So, with all of that out of the way, we're in prison. Off to a good start. More specifically, we're in the Undead Asylum, a facility built to corral humans that became afflicted with the curse of undead. Undead will eventually turn what's called Paul, which reduces them to a chamber corpse that attacks just about anything still alive. And one undead here happens to be yourself, wasting away in seclusion before a very helpful knight drops a corpse with a key through the ceiling. Why he couldn't just drop the key and not the whole ass body, I don't know, but we take what we can get. Thus begins the game's tutorial, and it handles it in a pretty unintrusive way, leaving the actual tutorial as those with messages written on the ground that are entirely optional, but give you the basics to get into. They also demo one of the multiplayer aspects of Dark Souls right away, messages. If playing online, people can leave messages for other people on the ground using preset bits and pieces of sentences. You'll find messages that are legitimately helpful, and others that are just people being graphic. We'll come back to this later. For now, we make our way up to the game's first bonfire. Bonfires became the icon of the entire game. Even Spectre and Blood have no words. From here, you can rest, level up, and later on, store, repair, and improve. They're the checkpoints of the game, and let me tell you, back in the day, after carefully inching my way through an area, being slowly drained of resources, watching my soul into a chest, finding these things was always a huge thing. Anyway, I'm prepared. Okay, so yeah, that's usually what happens when you get close to episodes. The game tends to take effect. This is what we call hubris. Thankfully, through the holy power of explosives, we prevail and move on. Now, normally you run away from that thing, grab your shield, weapon, and other gear, then go back and fight it again to cap off the tutorial, but it's nice that the game gives you the option to just beat it right away. Even better, you're rewarded with the Demon's Hammer if you do. This is one of the many good things about Dark Souls. It's pretty open-ended. You can approach almost any situation however you want with the tools the game gives you. All it asks is that you get from point A to point B. How you get there is up to you. Sure, you can go through the tutorial in the intended path, or you can bomb the Asylum Demon so hard there is now a smoking crater where it's supposed to be. It's your choice. This is expanded on later as you get the ability to summon allies for boss fights, get more weapons, spells, and consumables. I never felt like I was forced into playing a specific way or the right way, just that the game expected me to get good at the fundamentals, which thankfully are pretty simple to apprehend. Here's our prison break, buddy, and they're dying already, because of course they are. But at least he gives us some crucial direction in his final moments.